Good evening and welcome. Tonight we have our 13th installment of 2-sentence horror stories. 51 to be exact, which I thought was fitting considering we are 51 subscribers away from hitting 7,000. So hopefully you know what to do. With that said, let's begin. The TV remote wasn't working, so I got fresh batteries to replace the ones that were missing. Had I questioned why the compartment was empty in the first place, maybe my 2-year-old would be alive and well. The house seems so much quieter now that my kids are gone, I say to myself as I continue to drag the 2 bodies out to my garage. I don't know who you are, so please stop texting me. Just like everyone else I had messaged that day, even my own mother seemed to forget my existence. The morgue called me down again to see if the mangled body they had found was my missing nephew. Hopefully they never catch on that I never had a nephew, or they'll cut me off from seeing all the good stuff. Every night my boyfriend snuck in and out of my room through the window, tapping 2 times to let me know he is here. Even after he's been dead for 3 years, the tapping won't stop. I walked into the gas station hoping that cash was enough, but my heart sank when I felt a strong hand grip my shoulder. The man behind the counter grinned. "It's the apocalypse, sweetheart. You'll need more than money as payment." These foot peel masks are amazing. Saves me so much time fixing snacks for the kids. Resorting to cannibalism after the plane crash would haunt him forever, but the hundreds of packets of unopened peanuts would haunt him more. I showed my new girlfriend my collection of vintage milk cartons, the final edition boasting her school picture. I spent weeks explaining to her that it's safer than keeping trophies, but all she does is scream and cry instead of being flattered. I thought I could see ghosts. It was only when my mum got arrested that I realised that those bodies randomly appearing in my closet and under my bed were real. If you're performing CPR and you hear a crack, it means you've broken the ribcage, they told us in the first aid class. Nobody ever said anything about hearing squelching though, so I kept going just in case. On my way home, I was very grateful to the hospital staff for taking care of me during my 2-year-long coma. That's until I got onto the shower and noticed a fully healed C-section scar in my lower abdomen. Mama said we were digging for treasure, but all I've found so far is dirt and clay. The soldiers are making the whole village dig the same hole, so whatever it is, it must be huge. My parents have been crying since Mummy found a new baby dead in its crib. After 3 times, maybe they'll understand that I don't want a little brother or sister. My friend told me I'm going insane, but he's the only one talking to a person that doesn't exist. My job at the hospice was the perfect way to access blood guilt-free, knowing that my patients were ready for their suffering to end. But now I don't know what to do, because the 12-year-old cancer patient just unexpectedly woke up as I extended my fangs, and his eyes are filled with determination and terror as he begs, "Please don't let me die." You know what they say, you'd do anything for your children. I said to myself as I pressed the pillow against my cancer-stricken 4-year-old son's face. "Oh, I'm not afraid of tarantulas," I exclaimed, while picking up my new buddy's pet spider. I saw the sheer look of terror on his face a millisecond before his Sydney funnel web spider's fangs pierced my hand to the bone. I caught my celebrity boyfriend cheating on me with my best friend. As I tied each of them up, each claimed to not know who I was, as if I'd believe such an obvious lie. I was able to convince my daughter that her glow-up sneakers wouldn't make her a target. But when I saw her school on the news today, I realised she didn't mean bullying. I decided to visit my grandmother today, since I haven't for a long time. I can't express the horror I felt when I saw that something appeared to have crawled out of her grave. "This is boring, I don't want to play doctor anymore," my son whined. "Shut up and hand me the steak knife," his sister snapped back as I struggle against the zip ties and gag. My son's operation went smoothly despite a mild infection post-op, but he's healing well and feeling great. I would have rated 5 stars had the doctor's cat been kept out of the garage during the operation, but my surgeon app has been a godsend to our family and beats paying hospital bills. The almonds from our tree in the garden are more bitter than I expected, but if I add some extra sugar in my cakes, I'm sure it will balance out nicely. When you treat as many mentally disturbed people as I do, you're going to run into a few who claim to know your death date. What worries me is how many of them are making identical predictions. When I was offered $10,000 in return for spending a year in the last game I played, I accepted the offer instantly. Looking at the green diamond above my head, I realised I should have given the deal more thought. I blink once and my little girl is 3. Again, she's 6. And yet again, she's 12. I blink once and there's this strange woman leaning over me with a sad smile, asking, "Daddy, do you remember who I am?" My father and I were watching the news when I read the headline, 10-year anniversary of search for missing boy. He quickly changed the channel when a sketch looking just like me appeared on screen. I'd done this hundreds of times before, cutting through the thousands of them like they were nothing. I'd grown used to it and even enjoyed the smell, but for the first time I heard the screams of each blade of grass as I mowed over them. I was crushed when I received ancestry results showing that I was not related to my son. I became horrified when my wife got the same results. No one in my family has lived past 50. As I took the safety off, I decided to continue the tradition. The city decided to cut the number of paramedics by 2/3. Now the wait time is over an hour, and since I don't have a car, I don't think my baby will survive until then. My wife and I just moved into our new house. We didn't realise our basement came with children. I love Halloween. It's the only time of year that I can give children candy. Everyone was very grateful when I moved in to help my best friend's husband raise their children after she passed unexpectedly. I, personally, am very grateful that everyone still believes her death was an accident. We had to be 100% sure that you have no metal on you, as this is the most powerful magnet ever built, reassured the patient as they slowly slid into the prototype MRI scanner. By the time we remembered that blood cells contain iron, the screaming had stopped, but if anything, the slow dripping sound was worse. There's a rumour going around that our steamed buns are filled with cat meat, which is just plain silly if you think about it. Why go through the trouble of chasing down something as agile as a cat when children are much easier to catch and taste so much better? Every night she heard the insidious whispers of the scale urging her to purge her sins into the porcelain god, promising peace with every heave. But in the eerie glow of the bathroom light, her reflection grinned back, grotesquely thin, whispering, "Just one more time," even as her body withered to nothing. I decided that every time I saw a car, I'd take one pill. I live next to the highway. My professor had told me to be very careful with the nerve agent we were using to paralyse our worms. I wish I'd been wearing gloves as I accidentally spilled some onto the cut of my finger. I was excited to see my friend finally take his mental health seriously and start taking medication. Each pill he took dissolved my body and freed my mind, but we both knew imaginary friends aren't supposed to last this long. "Just pull it," I told my toddler, getting impatient. I readjusted the gun against my temple, knowing I was too much of a coward to do it myself. After we reached the room where they kept the captured mermaid, we found out that she was actually a woman dressed in a costume. Had we known that it was just a scam, we would not have killed all the people in the public aquarium to save one of our own. I smile knowingly as my date and I both take a sip of wine. It is only as I wake up to find myself chained in a dark basement that I realise she must have switched our glasses. I have face blindness, but my husband usually goes with me to events and discreetly helps me if I can't figure out who someone is. At the party today, my best friend took me aside and asked me who the man I had brought with me was. Times are tough. Buying a second-hand coffin is nothing to be ashamed of. I got one for my granddad when he passed away, and apart from a few scratches and dents on the inside, it was basically brand new. I was so lucky to come out of the burning house with minimal issues. I just wondered why my husband hadn't stopped crying and hugging me. I'm fine. Even a paramedic said there's no use taking me to the hospital. It's been a month since you decided you want an abortion. What's taking you so long? The restaurant pays according to weight. I'm waiting until the legal limit, her sister casually replied. I chuckled as they said, "And may God have mercy on your soul," at the priest's execution. Don't worry, he will, I thought to myself, as I reminisced about all the girls I buried under the tree in the priest's front yard. "I love you," my husband said to me, causing me to turn around and smile at him. "We should run away together," he continued, my face going white as I realised he had my phone in one hand, reading my texts aloud, and a gun in the other. After my latest failed attempt, I woke up in the hospital to the smiling faces of my family and the doctor saying I was lucky to be alive. As the doctor left the room, all smiles faded and my mother said, in her typical dismissive tone, "I guess you can't even die right." I hope you all enjoyed another installment of 2 Sentence Horror Stories, one of the longest and most popular series on this channel. For more 2 Sentence Horror Stories, check out the videos on screen now. Thank you for watching.